been a long time, H2. Ooh, that sounded a little rough for a split second over there. Alright, we are ready to roll. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back on the beautiful H2. It's been a minute. I have 0 front brake pressure, and I did not check my tire pressure either. So 2 things I probably should have done. I usually wait until the temperature is at least on, give it till like 130 to start going, but we are running late, so you know, just not giving it much gas slash RPM. My back pressure is weak, my front pressure is weak. It's all cooked. But this video is actually going to be more of an informational video, and it's going to be talking about the major differences between the H2 and the H2R. I feel like I don't do as much of these more informational videos as much anymore. Whoa, difference number 1. My H2, because it's slightly an older gen, well, not older gen, it's the first gen actually, H2, it does not have an auto blipper up and down, so as you guys saw, the quick shifting is not nearly as smooth. I do have an aftermarket auto blipper installed on this thing, but it does not compare to the H2R. The H2R is like butter smooth, so it'd be very curious to ride like a H2R of this year, you know, like the first gen H2R. I wonder how that would be. And I also wonder, because you know how the Hayabusas, they say that like the previous gens are faster than the, essentially, the newer gens. So part of me definitely wonders if there's actually like a big difference between the H2Rs as well. Maybe the first gen were so crazy and they're so raw, and the gen that I have, which is slightly aftermarket, aren't as raw and crazy, and that's why, you know, they don't hit the supposed top speed that it was supposed to hit. Which, if you guys living on a rock and don't know, the H2R supposedly hit 250 miles an hour. Oh my god! My H2R definitely doesn't pop the way this does when it shifts up, which I like. You know, it just sounds crispy. It's like bam, bam, bam every shift. The H2R does do that. It's not to this extent, not to this sound. That being said, this has a full which one is it? The Brock slash cut exhaust. That's an OG exhaust that is, I'm pretty sure, discontinued, so people can't even get that exhaust anymore. You know, the new popular exhaust is the Van Diemen exhaust, and that's what people that really like, and that's kind of like the H2R replica. This is also tried to be an H2R replica, but it's a little more different than the Van Diemen. This also is a stainless exhaust. When I bought this exhaust, I was between this and the other one, but low-key, sometimes I feel like the sound of stainless is nicer than the sound of titanium, because stainless has kind of more of a, like a raspy sound. I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the diameter of stainless pipes versus, even if they're aftermarket, they're usually a little thinner. I don't know if that's 100% true because of the fact that some is stainless and some are titanium. Maybe it's like different in that way, or just simply the company that's making them decided to have a small diameter pipe. So if anybody knows, let me know, because I'm curious myself. But I definitely noticed that, you know, the diameter of the headers themselves and the pipes are a little bit thinner when they're stainless. I also know that titanium goes over a number of heat cycles. It does change sound a little bit. I feel like when titanium pipes are new, it's a lot more sharp and crazy, and kind of over time they start to give it that kind of like a, I don't know, like it's like that less raspy, it's like more of a hollow sound, possibly. It's hard to describe. It just doesn't sound as aggressive as the stainless pipes, unless the titanium pipes are very new. not necessarily saying it's like a big thing or it's a bad thing, but yeah, I've heard when I got this H2, there wasn't many H2s out in the wild. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of H2s. Now it's, I mean, when did I buy this bike? I bought this bike 4 years ago. No, maybe 4, is it 5? Something like that. But it's been a long time since I've had my H2. And at the time, I was the only person with an H2 that was just casually riding it. I met one other guy, but he barely rode as well. So I was essentially the only guy that's casually riding an H2 everywhere. But now, thanks to social media and, you know, everything, I feel like a lot of people have H2s and got H2s. A lot of it is because, you know, I started dating H2s and I was telling the people, I'm like, hey, these are the sickest bikes, essentially. And a lot of people tried it and they're like, yeah, it is the sickest bikes. I feel like H2s, when I got started, had the stigma of, this is a crazy bike, there's no point for it, you can't take it to the canyon, you can't take it to the track. You know what I mean? So, like, what's the point of having such an expensive bike that is too much power and too much to handle, and you can't even track or canyon it? It's not that you can't, also, it's more of a, like, there's better options for a lot cheaper, aka you can just get yourself an R1 for about half the price of an H2. And you can take that to the track, and guess what? You'll probably be faster around that track on the R1 than the H2, because it's just simply made for the track, unlike the H2. So a lot of people didn't see the reason for it, and I feel like throughout the years I've been telling people, I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter what the reason for it. I mean, Bugatti doesn't make the Chiron to be like the ultimate new lap record holder, blah blah blah. They just want to make a sick vehicle that has insane horsepower and insane like build and aesthetic, and that's that. As simple as that. You know, it's about creating crazy machines. Do not miss riding in this traffic, man. And it's a little more sketchy because I know I have like essentially no braking because I don't know, I think the boys on Wally told me that my master is cooked on this bike, and that's why it's not holding pressure, because we applied the brake and we did all that stuff, and then the master was still kind of like, the bike has like no pressure, essentially. There's no braking. Like, look, I'm pressing all this and there's absolutely nothing happening to the bike. Yeah, the plan with that is to buy new masters for the H2R, upgrade the masters for the H2R and the levers to something completely custom, and then use the H2R masters, since those are still new and upgraded, on this bike. And also check out the last video if you guys haven't already. Last video I talked about potentially buying another H2R. So if you guys want to know the details and all that about that crazy idea, then check out the last video. But yeah, so what we're talking about, the main differences between these two bikes. I always find it a lot harder to kind of like keep my train of thought when I'm riding through traffic like this, because, you know, riding is secondhand and normal to me, but riding in traffic, always going to be alert. I'm looking at like people's in their mirrors to see if anyone's just going to cut you, so I can kind of read the road better. That's like, if you're a new rider, you need to understand that you need to read the road. That is an undercover cop, and doesn't even have California exempt plate, so that is very scary. But yeah, we've already seen like 2 or 3 cops today, so they're out. Obviously, if you guys don't know the stats, then the H2 stock, what is it rated at? I think 230, 220 horsepower. I know they change it kind of like from year to year or something like that. Let's just call it about 230 horsepower. The H2R is about 322, I believe, to be exact, but let's just say 325 horsepower. So, you know what I mean? It's a lot more horsepower just from factory, and that's mainly because, you know, the H2R is not restricted. It is maxed out essentially because it's a truck bike, so I don't have to go through regulations and all that stuff. So you're talking about roughly about 90 to 100 more horsepower from factory if you keep your H2 stock, which nobody really does. The H2 is highly restricted from factory. You desperately need an exhaust and a tune, and then you'll be riding a real H2. Anyone that buys an H2 and just has a stock exhaust and doesn't tune it is essentially missing out on the whole point of the H2. A lot of people, including this bike, when I bought her, it had like a tune that is unlocked, so it wasn't really tuned for power, but it unlocks your kind of like speed restrictions, stuff like that. There's like certain things that are just restricting, and unlocks those. But that's not what you need to do. That's kind of okay, you know, but you need to properly tune these lights to make more horsepower. horsepower, because you'll gain an insane amount of horsepower. These bikes will probably put around, like, I would say 200, maybe 210. I think my H2 specifically did like, I really forgot, because that was like ages ago, right when I got it. We put on the dyno and the bike made like, I want to say 215 or something like that horsepower. It wasn't even at 220 to the wheel, which is honestly like horrible. I think the Aprilia RSV4, they make more than that with regular gas to the wheel. So, but that's given the new Aprilias are, you know, very, very powerful bikes. But a lot of bikes like, you know, the V4R, the V4Ss, even some of them M1000s make between 205 to 210, sometimes 215, like the RSV4s, 1100 factories. Those make already 215 horsepower, essentially after basic mods, you know, air filter, exhaust, and a tune. And yeah, so this bike made essentially that, which is still very, very impressive, but it's still not even close. Another cop, I'm telling you, there's a lot of them, but still not even close to the true, like what this bike can do. 215. All I did with this bike is put this full exhaust on it, put a high flow air filter on it, which by the way I'm using the POA F1, which is a very like a track high flow air filter on it. I don't recommend using it. I mean, I've been running in this bike for a minute and it's been okay, but still it's not recommended because it's super high flow. It's supposed to be for the track because it's like cleaner environment, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. Why is this, okay, I was gonna say, why is this biker on the opposite side? It's okay, dude, don't worry about it, I'm exiting right about now. But yeah, I don't recommend that because you're essentially letting more particles into your engine, and that's how you could potentially damage your engine. So I do not recommend using the super high flow air filter unless you know you live in a very clean environment and you're not going to go through too much sand particles and dust and stuff like that where it could mess up your engine. Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what I'm trying to rad match. I forgot that I have an auto blipper, but my auto blipper is super aggressive, as you guys can hear. Whoa, did a little slippy slide over there. I don't know what I went over, but probably felt like gravel. The back went out a little bit on me. That's why you always take it easy and slow when you're street riding and you're, you know, taking a turn or a U-turn. I've seen so many people low side for absolutely nothing. They're barely even leaning, but that's because the road isn't clean. This video has been a lot of tips for the newer riders. Coming from someone that's been riding for almost a decade now, continuously for over 100,000 miles, and I don't even know, like a few track days. I've done a lot of riding, that's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, it's good to pick up on those little things that you learn from experience or over time. So yeah, I was saying, anyways, before I got distracted with a million things because of my ADHD and all the traffic, that this bike has a high flow air filter, full exhaust system, and a tune, and it made a little over 250 to the wheel versus the stock 215 that it did before. But yeah, riding this bike compared to the H2R, believe it or not, this bike feels a lot smoother, and just overall, I mean the H2R feels a lot smoother and kind of more, honestly, more relaxed. Maybe more, not more relaxed, but hey, you heard me coming. But I think just because my H2R is newer, it's just more refined, and that you see that a lot with a lot of bikes, that these bikes are just more refined. Traffic is horrible, man. Just splitting lanes with those gigantic wings, never fun. Just never fun.
What's the minimum you have to be rolling for this to stay cool?
This is the H2, not the R. So this does have fans.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So I'm actually,
how close they look alike. As you roll by and just kind of, oh, wait. Okay.
Yeah, most people really can't tell the difference. I'll give you the key features right now, like speed run you through them. First things first is the front face. Okay. If you're confused if it's an H2 or an H2R, just look at the front. Right here you can see there's a front light.
Got it.
So front light and these daylights. That's first thing. My H2R is just pure intake. Carbon. It's all carbon, and the intake is here.
Okay, got it.
So this has a singular kind of intake. It's technically the same thing, and you can see it from here.
Oh, wow.
And this is the tube, the carbon tube that feeds it straight to the supercharger. If you go here, you can see the red supercharger through here. Can you kind of see it?
Just barely, yeah.
Yeah. It's because right here is an air filter.
Got it.
On the H2R, it's a completely different setup. This goes straight to the supercharger, and the air filter is like double the size, and it covers the entire front. So both sides are an intake.
Okay.
Air filter is in the front, way more air into the supercharger.
What is the power difference?
This one is roughly, I think they say stock is like 220, 230. H2R stock is about 325. So almost 100 horsepower more. Now, this, because it's has follow restrictions, because it's road legal, is very, very restricted. So after modifying it and tuning it, this makes, with just basic exhaust, air filter, and a tune, it makes roughly about 280, 290.
So this is like the sweet spot.
Yes.
In comparison to the other bike being so crazy.
Exactly.
Got it.
Except that I was just talking about it in this video. I think because the H2R, this is the first gen H2. This is 2015.
Got it.
All the carbon is aftermarket. Most of it is from my company, Corsa Carbon. So since you didn't see it last time, you can see like this is Corsa Carbon, this is Corsa Carbon. The entire tail is Corsa Carbon. Wow. We even make a subframe. So this is not a subframe cover.
That is the subframe.
This is the true subframe. Yes.
Wow.
So that's also from Corsa Carbon, all the engine covers.
Nice work. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I know last time we couldn't see any Corsa Carbon stuff, so this bike is dressed up with Corsa Carbon.
So this, hands down, for actually being able to ride distance and still having the crazy power, this is the sweet spot.
Yes.
For
As long as
right now.
As long as you're not like a track rider or anything like that, because the H2s are not built for that. So most people are like, we can spend half the money on, let's say, an R1, and that'll be a much better track bike. It's lighter, it's more nimble, it's designed for that. This is just designed, it's kind of like a Chiron. You know what I mean? They built it to just build something crazy, powerful, do top speed, whatever. You know what I mean? Just more about the creation itself.
Maxing it out.
Exactly. Unlike most other leader bikes. The Super Veloce is also another unique example, because that's more like boutique kind of special bike. It's also not about building kind of something that is just crazy, you know what I mean? So different ideas, but they're all essentially super bikes at the end of the day. Most of my other bikes are essentially like track, like the M1000RR, the R1M. Those are kind of like made to be taken on the track. Even though the H2R they say is a track bike, not really. I feel like Kawasaki just says that because they want to build this but maxed out without restrictions. So the only way they can do that is like, hey, this is a track bike, look at what we built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's not a preferred bike for the track.
Nah, nobody wants to. So you asked about the power. Oh, I forgot that this also see the very, very different body that I'm just seeing, that I remember that right here, there's more slits and arrow, because the entire front is kind of different. It's a different cowl on the H2R because of that intake system.
Got it.
But it's not just the power, the weight is huge. So this bike stock is at 525 pounds with fluids. So full, not dry weight, curb weight. The H2R is at 475. So it's 50 pounds lighter.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that's stock. My H2R is full carbon, full green titanium, all the custom stuff, the wheels. Yeah, you remember. So roughly I would say, conservatively actually, my H2R is probably 450 pounds and is modified also. So that bike pushes about 360 horsepower.
So with this, all the carbon work and everything else, is this as light
No,
as it could be?
No, impossible, because it still has fans, it still has the light setup, it still has a lot of other stuff. This exhaust is not, it's an aftermarket exhaust, it's not the OEM track exhaust, so the wheels, of course.
Swing arm different on the other
swing arms are the same actually.
Okay.
Yeah, the swing arms are the same, but the key components between the two I feel like is just the missing headlight and just extra fairings here, and probably the wheels, big difference. But I don't know, I mean 50 pounds from factory, they must have done a lot for the H2R that I kind of don't know of, maybe internals.
Crazy. Oh, and the tank is smaller, or are they both the same
tank?
Wow.
Yeah, Same tank. That's one of the things that I did for the H2R, but I switched it back. I actually put a fully custom carbon fiber tank, like a true carbon tank, not like a cover or, you know what I mean, like a true carbon tank, but unfortunately it was for racing only, so it was only a gallon capacity. This bike with 4.5 gallons barely gives me about 60 miles of range. So with 1 gallon, I barely have like 20 miles. Where am I gonna go with 20 miles? So it was just not usable. So I kind of put it on for the video. It was really cool. I had like a custom K in the carbon and everything. So yeah, but unfortunately I can't use the bike that way.
No, it
But yeah,
doesn't make it usable.
this roughly I would say is probably either a little under or right at 500 pounds. I probably shaved about 25 pounds from the exhaust and all the carbon, and it's mainly it.
Is it worth doing the other intake system or anything like that? Will it adapt to it, or is it just?
It's a big so that front face, the carbon front face of the H2R alone, I think is about $5,000 to $7,000. Just the carbon face alone, the cowl. So then I'm pretty sure you have to get the entire tube, because that is completely different since your air filter is going to be in the front. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you don't need to do a proper H2R conversion. What a lot of people do is essentially upgrade the cams. So that's one of the main differences in power, is that the H2R is camped. So
internal work has been done.
yeah, so you can do the H2R cams on this bike, and then you can upgrade the supercharger gears. That way, though, the supercharger is going to be running too hot, the boost temps, so you need to install an intercooler. But if you do this setup, this bike will be making either the same amount horsepower as the H2R or a little bit more actually, but then, you know, it's more kind of high maintenance essentially.
Yeah.
You know, because the H2R technically just has the cams and the better air intake system, but supercharger gears on both bikes could be modified, and that's what a lot of people do. This bike stock could be making like over 350 horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, not stock, but like, you know, with the supercharger gears, the H2R cams, and the intercooler.
Yeah, the biggest problem is just, you know, I love superchargers, but the heat soak is always your battle.
Yeah.
And the blowers get. I think you told me, or couldn't you see intake temps?
Yeah.
So you can see it gets crazy hot under a heavy pull, right?
Yeah. Here, I'll show you right here. It's really nice.
Well, it's good to know. You're like, okay, well, I'm
Yeah,
not
so
going to get
this
on it.
coolant temp 174. This is the boost temp.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And after I pull that thing, I mean, especially with the H2R, I don't really check much with this bike. But the H2R, after I do like a top speed run, the boost temps are about 220, 230. Yeah, which is a little steep.
Well, it's not good for it, especially if you're running only pump gas.
Yeah.
It's hard on it. I'm sure if you had a way to see timing or do a data log on it, it's probably pulling a ton of timing to try to keep it from detonating. But, you know, it's the way they built it. So you haven't done a whole lot. Freeing up the exhaust helps the blower for sure. Any kind of, you know, reduction in back pressure is, I mean, it helps, but there's only so much you can do. Supercharger is just maxing itself out.
That's why most people just go the intercooler route. I just, for this one, since I haven't done any engine work, just the basic, you know, exhaust tube filter, and it's more than enough. You know, this will destroy essentially anything almost. But with the H2R, I don't know, I'm kind of messing with it, and I was toying with the idea of getting potentially another H2R and just to build the one that I have and do something crazy that nobody's done with before. So I don't know. I'm playing with those ideas and to see, but this is kind of like the OG, so I want to keep her kind of, you know, mainly cosmetic mods and the way she is.
How easy everything, the adjustments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's super user friendly.
Yeah, and this is first gen, so all of it was Kawasaki. Now all the new stuff, they have like the Olin setup.
Oh, big fan. Olins are awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So the new one, same power rating?
Yeah. I think technically this first gen they were rated at like 210, and now they're at like 220, 230. But I think it's like, I haven't heard anything that the engine has been modified. I think it's just all with the tuning and the restrictions they're toying around with, stuff like that.
Well, with how much is potentially there.
Yeah.
You know, it would take nothing just to tweak it a little more. They always leave stuff on the table. Just
Exactly.
Like Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know,
So.
crazy.
Yeah, but look, you can see here that I have a minor fork seal leak. It's like damp.
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. It's been going on for a while though, so eventually I'm gonna have to get that fixed.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Safety first, especially on this thing.
they've been used and abused, so.
Yeah, that's what it should be, man. Well, they'll probably end up. I know a lot of the bikes that end up sitting, they end up leaking sooner.
Yeah.
Versus actually being ridden and regularly used.
Yeah, so this bike is lowered. You can see right here, about an inch in the front and the rear. So I have these aftermarket links
Yeah.
that are adjustable, so even the rear is lowered an inch to keep the geometry right on
It
it.
doesn't even look low. I can't imagine what it was at the stock height. I mean, it
Yeah,
must have
just
looked
an
like a
inch.
truck.
It definitely looks a lot more sleek this way.
Oh yeah.
With the H2R, I kept the rear the same, but I lowered the front about an inch. So it gives it kind of more of a like,
More brake.
yeah.
Are you gonna do green carbon wheels or?
No,
Any
I might
kind
be.
of- or just leave
So
it?
the same company that did my Super Veloce wheels, we might do wheels either for the H2R and then put my other green wheels on this, or just do wheels for this. So
You're
different.
gonna do a completely different.
Yeah, probably just gonna do honestly like black wheels with like green accents instead of just going like full color.
I like it with the pinstripe. You know, or
Yeah.
the striping. It looks cool.
Yeah, no, this is definitely an iconic kind of wheel and setup, but carbon wheels are carbon wheels. They do
Yeah.
make a huge difference. Cars, bikes, everything. And if you have a company that's good enough where they don't crack as easy and all that, it's one of the best mods you can do.
Oh, I saw you've been stress testing the on your Plaid Plus with
yeah.
the other wheels. So
I've put like about 15,000 miles on those. I'm going to do a review because I've put her through a lot, and those wheels held up really good.
nice.
So especially with a car with 1,000 foot-pounds of torque,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's a lot of torque to put on carbon. And yeah, on a car that's almost 6,000 pounds. So
That's amazing how heavy they are.
yeah. No, I think, actually, sorry, almost 5,000. I think they're around 48, 4,900.
Still heavy.
Yeah,
Very heavy.
I know. For a non-SUV, it's a heavy car. But yeah.
Now you added this whole piece is yours, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Everything, this bike comes with zero carbon. So every
Zero.
carbon, zero. Every single carbon piece is aftermarket, and most of it is through Corsa Carbon, my company.
Got
Yeah.
it. I guess it's not very structural, but still, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, my entire weight is on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of what holds me up. I would say, though, that like that structural piece, there's a lot of tabs and stuff that hold the seat and all that. Those are whole, or those are cracking all the time.
Oh.
But it's not something too important, to be honest. It's just like,
Well, you can assist it with Velcro and stuff like that, right?
it's just the way, because it's like this, and there's tabs that are supposed to be at an angle to hold certain bolts for the seat on.
Got it.
Those, like, with weight and with how much, because, you know, carbon flexes more than, let's say, the original was aluminum.
Yeah.
It just, like, kind of snaps over time or cracks a little bit. So, but it's not a big deal because, like, the seat clips in and has 2 bolts. So everything else is just kind of excessive, to be honest. That's why I don't care too much, because
That's not affecting you.
yeah, the weight saving is worth it because both sides are the same weight as with just one side. So it literally cut the weight in half of the subframe.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you have to do any shock adjusting with all the weight reduction?
Not really.
Like you had to do anything, or just
No. I feel like, because a lot of the, like, these are, I don't track them or anything like that, so there's, like, kind of minor differences, because at the end of the day, like, I didn't save that much weight, you know what I mean? Like, all we're talking about is, like, a few pounds here and there, roughly altogether 25 pounds, but no, it didn't need anything. This one, the shock on it is soft, because it was mainly set up for, like, racing. That's why it's lowered and everything.
Okay.
So kind of I can take off and kind of, like, almost like squats and takes off. Because if it's too stiff, it's just going to wheelie instead.
Yeah.
So,
Well, for this thing, as much power as it makes, I mean, you want it to just hook,
exactly.
you want it to squat, not get all crazy on it.
Exactly, especially since it doesn't have an extended swing arm. But yeah,
Does this have traction assist that'll keep
it
the
does.
nose down?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how good it is. The new one, the H2R, definitely has way better traction control. Because like I said, this is 2025. I think my H2R is a 21 or a 22. So huge differences when it comes to electronics that I've noticed a difference in. But I also don't know if the H2R has slightly better electronics. I don't know if that's part of kind of what they give it, because it is the more higher end bike. And technically it's double the price of this thing, so could potentially be.
That's amazing for the money.
this is a steal. I always
Yeah.
told people that like this is the bike that should be, you know, around, I think MSRP this is around 35 and the H2R is around 60 MSRP wise. So I think like roughly, yeah, let's just say this is a $35,000-$40,000 bike and the H2R is roughly about a $70,000 bike probably out the door and all that.
Wow.
Or not even that, but I always said that this should be like over 50K for sure. In comparison to like other brands and stuff like that, this easily could be like a $50,000 to $60,000 bike, and the H2R would be like their 80 to 100. So
Kawasaki, I mean, they always figured out a way to make it cost effective and crazy reliable.
yeah, Japanese.
Yeah, they are the kings of motorcycles. I mean, Ninjas are always, I mean, even old ones with crazy miles on them will still be reliable.
Yeah, that's kind of partially how I got into bikes. I was like, you know, I always wanted a Ninja. I didn't know nothing. I bought a Ninja 300, not knowing nothing. I was a car guy. I just wanted a bike on the side, and I was like, okay, that's a bicycle with a motor. So I was like, that doesn't count. And then I got the ZX6R, and that was my real first bike. I got that bike after like 2 weeks. I had the Ninja 300 for literally like about a week or two. Gone.
Went right to the,
Got the ZX6R, and that was like kind of my baby. And that's when I was like, okay, I might like motorcycles more than cars. Sure, I ended up liking them more, and then that's how it started. So I've always been a Kawi boy until now. I was like, that's why I'm considering getting another H2R. Then I'll have like 3 because they're my favorites. Like that's the thing. At the end of the day, like these are the bikes I enjoy riding the most, and I'm trying to spread out the miles on them because the H2R already has almost 2,000 miles. That bike is not even supposed to be on the track. I think it's supposed to go through an engine rebuild every 1,000 miles or something like that, or every 2,500 miles.
so when is the next service for it? Is it
I don't know if
just
it's-
a top-end service, or what is it?
Yeah, so the entire top portion of the engine needs to be rebuilt, essentially.
Got it.
But that's kind of, you know, for maximum track performance, I'm assuming. So I don't know. We shall see.
Well, for the situation, you're not living at Redline.
Exactly.
You are up there frequently, but if it's cruising and stuff like that, and you're keeping the R's low, which you can because it makes so much power, it definitely extends
The life.
service interval. For
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. Because all my track bikes have ridiculous like service requirements. I'm like, okay, I don't think you need that. Especially the Xtrenta, the one I showed you, my newest one. That one has essentially the same engine as the RSV4, which is the street version. But for whatever reason, like it requires also an engine rebuild at like 3,000 miles or something like that. And I'm like, it's the same motor, so how come that doesn't need it, but this need? You know what I mean? So it's usually for peak performance.
It could be valve train, differences. It's like obviously with the Ducatis, the Desmotronic system is very, very tight tolerances. Everything has to be perfect. But I don't know how it is on this. If it's I'm assuming it's a shim adjustment, solid tappet, versus a hydraulic lifter. It's just a solid tappet from the top of the valve to the cam. I doubt they would run because of the RPMs. They would not run a hydraulic, but maybe they do. I don't know.
They're definitely crazy bikes, that's for sure. The one thing I'll let you know, because this thing is lowered, that's an aftermarket adjustable kickstand.
Okay.
So it's kind of flimsy. Like, look, if I push it forward, it kind of.
Got it.
So that's the only thing. That's why I always kind of, when I put it, just make sure.
Double check.
Yeah.
Okay. And no locking. Everything's.
No, I left it unlocked. So if you do need, you could move it around. It is much heavier than Super Veloce, so.
Got it.
Or at least feel wise. But.
Yeah. The only need would be to move it into behind the gate in there. The other one's a breeze to move.
Yeah.
It was super light.
I mean, I don't think it's that difficult, but you'll definitely feel a difference.
Yeah, it's like what was the newest bike I rode? Was it the GS 1200, the Beamers? And all the weight's at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you get on it and it's just like instantly you can throw it around a corner versus like
pushing it around
or something that's heavier on top. You definitely feel it.
Yeah. I guess this one is kind of like that too. Not as heavy.
No.
But still similar.
Yeah, I was gonna say even as light as the GS feels, it's still a heavy bike.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy. Cool, man. Right on.
Of course.
Well, how's all the other bikes?
Not bad. Haven't been doing too much riding. So unfortunately, because with the move and all that stuff.
I was gonna say get settled yet?
No, not
Still
not yet.
working
I'm kind of in between. Like I was, for the most part, I was like, I want to buy a property there, but now I'm like, maybe I should rent for a year, see how it is first,
Wait it out. Wait it out.
and then maybe buy next year. So that might be the move.
Yeah.
But who knows? So I'm kind of like playing in between. That's mainly why I'm doing. Because if I'm renting, then I can move within like 2 weeks. You know, that's easy. It's
Yeah,
the
there's-
buying that's complicated, especially because it's my first time buying. So I'm like, that's a lot of shit to learn, and I'm already busy with all of this and wanting to move the bikes and all of that.
And making it.
Yeah, so I'm actually debating like staying on the strip itself. Just experiencing that, and kind of either getting a shop or a big storage unit or something like that, and just have some of my bikes there. That might be the move. Get a Sprinter van, do some travel vlogs with
Dude. Yeah.
the bikes. I think that might be the move for the next year, and then eventually get a house with a big garage and all that.
Well, you-
Right, well, I guess I'll end this video here as well. If you guys want to come check out the H2, I know a lot of you guys came and checked out the Super Veloce. I've seen some people even tag me, but the H2 is going to be at the Marconi Museum on display here, so you guys are welcome to come check it out. Last time we did a full tour, so if you guys want to see that full tour, check out the last video of the Super Veloce here. But now the H2 is here on display, so you guys can come check her out and yeah, enjoy this crazy machine. But I hope you guys kind of answered most questions about the difference between the H2 and the H2R. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to either reply to you there or maybe make a separate video with both the bikes and go into more detail in case I missed enough stuff that you guys will mention in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like, subscribe, and again, shout out to the Marconi Museum for having my bike here, because it's really cool to be on display at a really nice automotive museum that has a lot of crazy stuff in here. So yeah, drop a like, subscribe, catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, right there.